Hey, I am back. This is Seth, the Imperial Riff Lord, coming to you again from North Hollywood. It has been a while since I was on here, and if you follow my channel, you know I don't post videos that often. You can probably tell I have new specs, and I'm a tad bit thinner than the last time you saw me on here for episode 4, which was Mr. Caterpillar, my 2000 Ibanez Gem. Today we're going over episode 5, and I had to wait on this guitar to be returned to me because I was having new pickups installed and it just needed put back together and reset up and dialed in. This is a Jackson PS-4 Performer Series. It's the last guitar that I have in the arsenal that had to have anything done to it for functionality. Like, I've got one guitar, including this one as well. It could stand to have a better trim system on them, but that's the only thing either one of them need, besides regular maintenance and new set of strings once in a while. But let me get into it now. So thanks for bearing with me. I've had a couple of really foobar since early August. I'm just now kind of getting back to the norm. Today is October the it's Tuesday 5th 2021. Okay, so this guitar I came across when in December, I think it had to have been December, of 2002 or 2003, one or the other, very long time ago. And I was seeing this lady I met at a gig, and at the time I had her over at my place, and we went to Wagner's Music in Plymouth, Indiana, and I missed that place. Bought this guitar there, and my Wolfgang, which Bill, who I named after the owner, did a previous episode on that guitar, needed an adjustment. So I felt like something was off with the bridge or whatever it was, so I took it in there and I checked it out, and I saw this hanging on the wall. $250. It was all stock at the time, and it still is, other than the pickups and the bridge and the neck anyway. The middle one's always stayed stock, and then the switch is new, but that's the only thing on this guitar that I've changed. I may have had the nut replaced. I'm pretty sure I did a couple of years ago. I think Nick did it, but I honestly kind of at a loss and can't remember real well. But I remember the guy at the store, I think his name was one of the part-time employees there, his name was Jeff. He's like, would you like to give that Jackson a home? And I checked it out. I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, I didn't have any cash on me because I didn't have enough. I didn't have a checking account until I was 32 years old. Around this time I was 25, 26. And so the girl, whose name was Nancy Wilson, just like Nancy from Heart, bought it for me. And then, funny part about this guitar, not that it was actually this way, but it's a fun story to tell, because every one of them has a story. We did the deed, and then came time for her to take off, and I hadn't paid her back for the guitar yet. So I had the cash sitting in underneath my kitchen sink in like a pencil box, because I just gotten my Christmas bonus from my job at the time, not very long before. So I gave her the money, and wasn't like we had a business deal, so to speak, but it almost kind of felt like it. And if I'm being honest, I would have felt bad if I had paid specifically for that, because it wasn't anything, let's say, earth-shattering. But so that's how I acquired the guitar, and it's been a good one. It's been my beater guitar probably the entire time I've had it. Actually, the whole time I've had it. I recently reacquired it because my buddy Max Navis, what's up, dude, who did my Music Teacher's Muse web series on YouTube also, earlier this year and last year, I sold it to him last summer, and then after I had ripped the pickups out, I used to have dual DiMarzio X2Ns in it, but they were just too much. I wanted to put something else in here, which I did. I'll get to that in a little bit about the specs. And then I realized I didn't have a beater guitar anymore, because as you've seen other guitars I have, they have some nicks and scratches on them. Like my Jim has a few. One of my absolute top 3 has one little scratch on it. It's flawless otherwise, or as close as could be without having played it. But I was like, yeah, man, I kind of like to have it back. So he gave it back to me in exchange for a month worth of lessons, which he hasn't, not unfortunately, been able to take advantage of using. But whenever he wants them, they're there. So, and then I found a set of these, which are Ibanez Super 70s. This neck pickup came out of a 76 Ibanez Lawsuit Les Paul on Craigslist, and I bought a pair of them that I was going to have put in a different guitar. It's a vintage one, which will be the last one in this series, unless I get another guitar sometime before then, which is entirely possible. Because I wanted to see what it sounded like with the original pickups, because it's an original Ibanez from the late 70s. It's actually hanging on the stand right over here. But I'll just let you have a sneak peek for now until you can see the real thing later on in the official video. But one of the pickups didn't work. So I told the tech who had this guitar, I said, put the one that works in the neck, and I'll find a different bridge pickup for it. So this is a DiMarzio Saturate, which is the newest Joe Satriani pickup. I've used one of his other pickups. I have it in 2 other guitars in the neck. It's called a Fred. It's like a slightly more harmonically responsive PAF. Got a decent amount of balls. It's not a huge amount of output, but it's a good meaty sounding pickup. But I didn't like it in the bridge, at least in a mahogany body, and so it's in the neck on 2 of my mahogany guitars, and they sound absolutely incredible. This one's known for being the hottest pickup that he's ever used, and it's got a lot of harmonics, and it's different than a lot of my pickups. I'm not sure what kind of magnet this is, but most of my pickups I've found, because I like hot pickups, that's no secret, are ceramic magnets. This is an Alnico 8 magnet. They tend to be a little honky sounding with too many mids, from what I understand, but this one's perfectly great. I've had to adjust the height of the pickup a little bit, but that's normal if you're not thrilled with it. It was a little too weak in the lows, so I brought the bass side up. Turned out fine. Then the highs are a little so I just lowered it, and that seemed to have cleared it up for the moment. So I don't know how old this guitar is, but since it was used when I bought it, about 18 years ago, I'm assuming it's 25 years old, something like that. I don't know how long they made these for. I had a PS-2 also. It was the first Jackson I ever had. I wish I'd have kept that one. But from what I know about this, of course, it's a maple neck, rosewood fretboard, 24 frets, of course, reverse headstock. When I was in Groupies Wanted, this was my main guitar before I got my first Ibanez Prestige, and I had to watch it because Brittany's eye came up to right about here, because she's pretty short. So if she was on my left, I had to be real careful about not gouging her eye out with it, with some of the gigs. Good times. And it's an alder body. Just got a master volume, master tone, 5-way switch, twin humbuckers, and then as you can see, I've decorated it. These stickers have been in there probably a decade. It's a real plain Jane looking guitar without anything. So at the time I got these at AutoZone, skulls and dragons and naked angel chicks. Not actually, there's no dragons on here, but it says Lethal Threat on the bottom. And as far as the tone of it, I am much more pleased with how it is now, because the X2Ns in it were just too much, like World War III all the time. And I love that pickup. It's in the bridge on one of my mahogany guitars. It works better in a mahogany body, I believe. Didn't sound bad with it in the neck and the bridge on this thing, but it was just too much all the time. So I wanted something that still had a good amount of oomph to it, but it would have more versatility. Even though Jacksons aren't really known for being versatile, but they're more versatile than given credit for, just like Ibanez. People see the pointy headstock and the Floyd Rose, and they automatically think you're a metal player or an intense player, or you only care about soloing, or it's only good for one style. That's complete bullshit. Every one of my Ibanez guitars, including my 7-string with the hottest pickup I've probably ever used in it, has a gorgeous clean tone and is more versatile than you would ever think by looking at it. It's a big problem I have with the guitar playing community. It's not a real guitar unless it's a Fender or a Gibson or a Gretsch or something like that, or if it's only good for these styles. Now, I wouldn't take this to a blues gig. Not that most people are going to hire me for a blues gig anyway, but I could convincingly do it with enough preparation. I would use my RG for that if I had to, or I would buy a Strat or a Tele. Not that those are my main kind of guitars that I go for, but sometimes out of necessity you have to do those things. So as far as the use of this guitar, I haven't used it a lot. I've never used it on any recordings. Of course, I haven't done a lot of recording in the first place. It was my backup guitar in Heavy Justice, my first LA band. I never used it at a show. Actually, the only time it saw the stage was when we played at this little, I think it was Keegan's. It was an Irish pub somewhere, and Greg, the other guitarist, what's up, dude, had just put strap locks on his only guitar. I always gave him shit about not having a backup guitar. He's got one now for a long time, because he's an Ibanez guy now. His guitar, his Dean Hardtail is now his backup, from what I know. I haven't seen Greg for a while. But the strap locks that he put on before the show somehow ripped out of the guitar, and my main guitar was my Hamer Californian, which you'll see in another a video coming up here. See, it's 2 videos from now. Look at my list over here. And I just handed him this and said, hey, use this. So we only had one song left in the set. So as far as in LA, that show, and then I played this at school. This is one of my GIT guitars, which I just remembered recently. So for that reason alone, it's got a lot of sentimental value. I used it at school. Not a lot, but I had it there. At the time, it was a X2N, and then I had a DiMarzio liquefier in the neck. Actually, no, I changed it to a liquefier after I got out of school. But anyway, and then one of the best shows I ever played with Jeff Aldana. I don't know if he's still playing with anybody else in the band, but I got hired to play a Judas Priest tribute show in July of 2015 at the Universal Bar and Grill right up the street from here. I can walk there. And that was one of the best shows I ever played. There was songs on that set list that I've been wanting to play since I was a kid, like Love Bites and Nightcrawler, and a lot of obscure songs that, of course, we had Breaking the Law and Heading Out to the Highway was on there. I've got the set list somewhere, but I used this guitar along with my 5150. It was great. It was a fun show, and I was like 16-year-old in me was alive and well. And then I used it in my first band, Red 40, a couple of times. I just found some old scrapbook photos when I was home in Indiana recently of me playing it on stage in like 2006. And I played it, the Star Spangled Banner on it at a wrestling event one time for my friend AC's thing in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I forget where the venue was. It might have been at the Coliseum. Excuse me, but it's been too long ago. It's been 2002 or 2003. But it's been a good guitar. It's just it's the one that I can be okay with, even if there's a major gash on the front of it. I wouldn't care because it's the beater. And for a beater guitar, it's pretty nice. The only thing I would change about it right now, since it's recently been set up and it's got the new pickups in it, and it's all been dialed in, plus the switch is new, Fender 5-way master switch, is I would put a better trim system on it. I put a Godo 1996 TE or whatever that is, because Godo is the best hardware there is, period. So it's I recommend that. All my Ibanez guitars, except for my one Korean model, have Godo hardware on them, and there is nothing better than that. It stays in tune and functions better than everything else. Better than Schaller, better than Grover. Nothing against them, because those are reputable brands and they work great, but Godo kicks the hell out of all of them. So that's really about it on this one. Just give you a quick sound test. Here's the clean tone. Little reverb from my Supernatural Digitech ambient verb. That's the neck pickup. Here's the bridge. Noticeably brighter, but not super bright. It's got a nice balance to it. Okay, so this is a Jackson, so let's turn down the verb a little bit and get some raunch, because this is a metal guitar. Who are we kidding? Recently discovered, you can probably hear that, all that excessive noise, that if I use this board live, this is the first board I built last year during lockdown. I'm gonna need a noise suppressor for it, because as soon as I hit that overdrive, it's an Ibanez TS9 jet driver, not TS9, JD9. Or if I turn up the gain very high on my Soul Food Electro Harmonics pedal, it's their clone. It's noisy as all hell if I add it to the amp gain, which is the way I like to use an overdrive. It's just too much freaking noise. So, hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned. Next month, I will be sure and do one next month. This is October. I planned on doing one of these a month. Anyway, initially, it's been a screwed up year. Last year was screwed up big time. But, you know, nothing should prevent me from doing one a month from here on out. And for the people who follow me especially, thank you for all the comments on my how to dial in a Floyd for newbies, which is just explains, you know, how to unlock the nut and tweak the fine tuners and get everything to balance right after it's been set up properly. That's gotten 12,000 views and a bunch of new subscribers, I believe, just from that video alone. So I am going to do some pedal demos and some stuff here in the near future pretty soon. I know I've been talking about it forever, but it's time to get on it. So thanks for tuning in. Again, this is the Jackson PS-4, and forgot to mention, this one doesn't have a name. I've never come across anyone who just, because as you know, I name my guitars after those who I've known in some way, either through a connection musically or personally, who inspire me. Because a couple of my guitars aren't named after people, but they're like, one of my guitars named after my dog, and another guitar is named after one of my favorite songs of my favorite guitarist, Gary Moore. So we will get to all those. But thanks for tuning in, and thank you for what support you've shown me so far. Hopefully there'll be plenty more of that to come. Stay tuned. Thanks a lot. Seth, the Imperial Riff Lord, signing off for now.